reality brand for sure, and success on the History Channel. I'm excited to welcome Rick and Marty Lagina of The Curse of Oak Island, 12th season, guys. Can you believe it?
No,
No,
no.
I
Uh,
mean, and it just can, and in the growth of your show, let's go first with Rick. Can you, I mean, you said no, you can't imagine, but thinking about your fans and everyone that are so into the show.
yeah, look, it would be difficult, really, without that component, without the support, the curiosity, the inquisitiveness of the audience, because there are days on the island, I'm sure Marty would concur, where we look at each other, shake our head, and go, "Oh boy, rough
mhm.
day today." And then we think of the people, the fans, the people who are keen on solving this mystery. Without them, it would be a much more difficult enterprise, and we really, really appreciate them.
Go ahead and add to that, Marty.
Well, he's absolutely correct. It does help, and we do get discouraged. And the people's enthusiasm that watch this and support us is fantastic. But on the 12-year question, I would approach it a little different. When I said no, it's because it was hubris. We thought we were really smart, and when we took over the island, I thought we'd have this figured out in a year or two. So that's why you said 12 years. Can you believe it? That's kind of why I said no. I thought it'd be done by now.
So, Rick, kind of tell us how this story's going without, getting away, because people could go back and watch all of it, all 12 seasons, but ultimately, for people that have not watched the show.
Well, you mean where we sit currently
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
our,
Where you sit currently.
well, I think, look, I couch it in this manner, and that is that the team, our team, which has grown exponentially since the early years, everyone is more immersed and more convinced than ever before that we are in the correct path, and that, we haven't pulled a vast treasure up above the ground, as treasure is defined, but we have made such progress and found real um, things about history and the historical narrative regarding this island that I think it's hard to fathom how rich this story is, and the willingness on the part of everyone, including the crew. Everyone is thoroughly invested in this, and I think that speaks eloquently to all the hard work over these last 12 years, why everyone is still so convinced and so immersed in this project.
So, you're convinced, Marty, you're going to find the treasure at one point in time.
Yeah, I am. We're going to find, well, let me put it to you this way. I am convinced after this year, it's been stated by others before that we were really close. Based on some things that happened this year, I think we are really close.
Okay. All right. So, Rick, what kind of talk about 12 years? What have been the biggest challenges in this 12 years of filming the show?
Oh, I think it's just the amount of time. I'm sure Marty will concur. We're older gents now, and you see time differently as you get older. And the 6, 7 months of the year committed to this thing, I think it speaks eloquently to, again, our passion and our commitment to trying to solve this, what I think is a world-class mystery and a world-class treasure hunt. But it's the time that is the real struggle for us. Marty can speak to it as well, but it's the time. It's becoming more difficult as the years go by.
Okay. And Marty, if kind of adding more to that process, what about people that want to go hunt for treasure? What tips would you offer people that wanted to go hunt for treasure specifically in their area? They found out there could be potential things. Like, for example, when I lived in Texas, there was there's a lot of there was a fossil park that, that there could potentially could been something. But if you know of an area or stuff, what tips would you offer?
Well, first of all, everybody loves a treasure hunt. Okay, I mean you do, and I would encourage them to do it. Try it, go for it, because I mean, as long as you can fit it in and it doesn't bankrupt you, because a treasure hunt embodies a lot of things. And let's face it, everybody loves it. It's fun. We are inherently a gambling type creature, and so I would encourage them. That'd be number one. Number two, the question could have been addressed to Rick because he has clearly made this a succinct advice, and that is this: do your research. I mean, anybody can go run out and start swinging a metal detector around, but you got to do your research and try and hone in where others failed. I mean, it was that sort of diligent research that led to some of the big discoveries of the past, like the Etosha. You gotta do that too. So those would be two things. One, go for it. Two, do your research.
Now, Rick, going further, how many copycats have been out there? After your success, there's always somebody that's trying to copy that. What have you seen, and or do you think they've been doing pretty well, like certain on social media, especially with the rise of TikTok, the rise of social media? Have you found a lot of more treasure hunters out there after what you guys have shown in this 12-year journey?
We have people reach out to us all the time with what Marty said. There are people who have done their homework or believe they have, and they reach out and they say, hey, I have this treasure hunt. I have this idea. I have this mystery. I personally, and Marty has too, been involved in some of these other treasure hunts. I find it fascinating that, hopefully on some level we have allowed people to live vicariously through our efforts, and they have, as Marty said, they've pulled the pin on their own adventure, and I applaud them. I think it's fascinating. I personally have learned some things about potentially other treasure hunts, which, in my opinion, are every bit as exciting and interesting as our own. So there's a lot of treasure hunting activities going on out there in the real world. And you know what? After this one is solved, and I believe we will, who knows where the next one is.
So, Marty, what should we expect this season? What's the biggest things we should expect? I know you wanted to piggyback off that question.
The only thing I could really say, sort of that I'm allowed to say, some amazing finds, some amazing discoveries. And then there's this thing that I alluded to earlier that makes me think that we are just closer than we've ever been. That's it in a nutshell.
Okay. So basically, we can have fun watching this show, but ultimately, if we wanted to go in our backyard and hunt for buried treasure, what things do we need, Rick, just to like kind of look, see what's underneath? Because I was watching Poltergeist, and it was reminding me of what could be underground where our house is built and stuff. What kind of tools would you need to specifically see if you might have something in your backyard?
Well, I think Gary Drayton speaks eloquently to that. I know everyone can't work with Gary, but metal detecting is really it's probably one of the best tools we have on the island. But also there is treasure in trying to understand our world, right? As you say, maybe in your backyard. Archaeology has proved to be an incredibly useful component of our search efforts, and anyone can do that. Just dig a test pit, and you may find something 6 or 8 inches underneath your yard that will speak to the history of the area. So those two things really have enlightened us about how useful archaeology and metal detecting is for anyone's efforts to try to understand the past.
All right, guys, everyone needs to tune in to The Curse of Oak Island, which returns Tuesday, November 12th at 9 p.m. Eastern on the History Channel. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for stopping by, and best of luck. And you'll have maybe you'll want not a season 13 if you discover it, but ultimately, I'm sure you want a season 13. Thanks for stopping by, guys.
Thank you, Neil. And when we do